All right, so I didn't expect to finish this book as soon as I did, but here we are, and we're going to do a review of it. This is from another book sent to me by my good friend Chris. Thank you as always, brother. And today we're going to be talking about Superman, The Last Days of Lex Luthor, written by Mark Waid with artwork by Brian Hitch. So this comic, before this got released, there was a massive delay. I think there was book one came out in 2022 or 3, and then there was like a 2-3 year delay, and it just now got published. This comic, when it was finished, Mark Waid was asked, "What's the book you're most proud of?" And he said this, and that's some big words coming from Mark Waid. He basically said, "Yeah, Superman: The Last Days of Lex Luthor is like the best book I have ever written." I might agree with that. This book is awesome. I am going to say this right now. If you are still... This is just like Superman Up in the Sky, where you can read... If you want to read some Superman comics, if you really want to read some like new Superman books, and you want to check out something that isn't really like continuity heavy or what have you, and you want to get to the core of who Superman is, get this book. This is a DC Black Label book, which... Funny enough, I did talk about with Batman and the Joker, the Deadly Duo. I talked about in that comic, basically in that book, I basically talked about how I didn't feel like this needed to be a Black Label book. I really felt like this did not need to be in any way, shape, or form a Black Label book because it didn't really have that Black Label feel. And I kind of agree with that here, where I feel like this is a DC Black Label book, but there's nothing really here that constituted enough to be a Black Label. Like, this could have just been its own story. Or like an Elseworlds, really. But yeah, it just kind of goes to show that I don't think DC knows what to do with the Black Label books anymore. I think they just don't know what to do with the Black Label title. Rather than just make an Elseworlds series, which they did, they have made Elseworlds books, but those are more sequels to previous Elseworld books. So I don't know what to tell you guys. I just I think that whole joke about when Batman Damned came out, and Kimmel made the joke about, the Batwiener. It just kind of broke them. It just kind of broke DC and how they wanted to carry Black Label. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah, but still, having said all that, Superman: The Last Days of Lex Luthor is one of the best comics I have ever read. This book is going to be, like I said with Tom King's Superman Up in the Sky, this is going to be a comic that people are going to want to read and be one of those legacy books, like one of those essential Superman comics. Like, I would say right now, like same with Superman Up in the Sky, where this comic is basically like, if you want someone to, like, hey, Superman was really cool, and I want to read Superman books, that is, Last Days of Lex Luthor is one of them, is going to be one of those books right now. And I do have like I said in my talks about like what James Gunn plans to do with the Superman sequel of making it a Superman Lex Luthor team-up movie, I have a sneaking suspicion he's going to take a lot from this book. So if you want to if you want to get ahead on what I mean by that, check out this comic. So let's dive into this comic. So basically the story is that Superman, after saving a small island from a giant robot sent by Lex Luthor, Luthor reveals, I'm dying and you're going to help me. Why? Because you're Superman. That's why. That's why you're going to help, because you're not going to let me die. And he also announces it to the whole world. Like, he globalized, basically saying, like, Superman begrudgingly agreeing to help Lex. On top of that, Superman proceeds to be like, yeah, I wasn't going to let you die. So Superman takes Lex to the far corners of the DC universe to find a cure for him. Well, at the same time, we go into a bit of more backstory between Clark and Lex, at least in this continuity. What I love about this comic is that it is Mark Waid's giant love letter to Superman. In Kingdom Come, it was I've said this multiple times with a lot of Mark Waid's work. He clearly loves the DC universe. He absolutely adores the DC universe. And there's no doubt about it that that's the same thing here. Here, it's a giant love letter to what Superman is, and it's kind of funny, even though it's called The Last Days of Lex Luthor, Superman's on all the covers. This book is essentially just one giant, like, this is how Mark Waid feels about Superman as a character, and how much he means to the world, and how much he means to him as a writer. It's a very important book. I think it's a very important core thing. Also, I will say there are a few jabs at the Snyderverse, because it's very clear Mark Waid did not like the Snyderverse much at all. So, yeah, there are some, it's not like big jabs or like whatever, it's just pokes at, yeah, he didn't like the Snyderverse. I will also say it's kind of funny that this is now, like, if I had a nickel for every DC Black Label book that had the hero and villain teaming up because the villain needed their help, the villain needed the hero's help, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird it's happened twice. So yeah, it does share that kind of same DNA with the Deadly Duo, but I think Last Days of Lex Luthor does it better. This comic showcases like Superman's humility. It showcases all corners of Superman's life, going from Kandor to the Phantom Zone to even Themyscira to the far future of the 31st century. This book literally has it all. This is a comic that really just has it all in terms of who Superman is as a character. I also like the backstory of like Clark and Lex growing up in Smallville together. It does have a spin on the Golden Age Superman storyline. It's really cool. I have talked about, like, in one of the videos I did, talking about the sequel and how I kind of knew what's going on. I don't think I'm gonna spoil it here, but yeah, again, it really gives credence to, I really do feel like this comic might be the big inspiration for the Man of Tomorrow movie coming in 2027. Assuming it stays on to that date, of course. Anyway, this comic is just Superman to his core. Also, I haven't talked about Brian Hitch's artwork. Brian Hitch, as an artist, can be really good, but if you put him on a monthly schedule, like I think there was a Brian Hitch where he was doing the ongoing art at Justice League, and it looked really bad. So you need to give Brian Hitch some time, because then he will give you, he'll give you some real beauty. Like, he will give you some actual, honest to God, beautiful pieces of work. I'm trying to showcase like a really good one for you guys to really showcase that sometimes, again, Brian Hitch can be really bad at some point, but that's on a monthly, like if you put him on a monthly basis. If you just give him a little time, he will give you absolute, like, magic. I'm sorry, I'm so professional on this channel. I should have, like, bookmarked the thing. Here we go. Because then he'll give you things like this. He will 100% give you things like this. So Brian Hitch with inks by Kevin Nolan, perfect. Mark Waid, like I said this was his greatest achievement as a writer, and I believe it. If you want to read Superman comics, not only do I recommend Up in the Sky, Last Days of Lex Luthor is definitely another book that I believe you should read as if you want to get into Superman. Or if you're just been a lifelong Superman fan, here you go. So there you go, guys. That is my review for Superman Last Days of Lex Luthor. Hope you all enjoyed this. And once again, I'd like to thank my good friend Chris for sending me this comic, as well as others. And yeah, if you have read this comic, comment below, let me know what you guys thought of it. Like it, hate it, absolutely love it. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.